Now, people will always ask me, so, well, how did you become an actor coming from the panhandle of Texas or the South Plains? And I tell them that I learned everything I needed to know about passion, energy, projection, anguish, grief, recompense, and salvation in about a minute. One day from my daddy during tornado season. And I was born in El Paso, and we lived out in that part of the state for the first 5 years of my life, and then we moved back to my dad's old stomping grounds. And so I had grown up in a terrible drought. The only place you could find water was in Genesis. There was no water. And then we moved to West Texas, and the rain came, and it stayed. And the storm started coming, and we lived right across the street from the fire station. So when the siren would go off, you heard it. And one morning or one afternoon, I'm out on the porch with my dad, who was a real cowboy. And my mother, God bless her, Mama wrote the Bible. But Daddy was a cowboy. So there was a lot going on in our house. There was a lot to look at. And so the storms had been coming more and more regularly, and we did not have a basement or a cellar, so my mother had accepted invitations from every good Church of Christ Baptist and Methodist maven in town that we would come to their cellars. So we couldn't go to the same cellar twice. We could not go to the same cellar twice. And I'm out on the porch, and the sky has turned green, which is never good. And it's swirling, and then it starts to hail, and massive raindrops are falling, and then the grass starts standing up like it wants to run away. And then the siren goes off, and my father's going, "Get in the car, get in the car." Said, "The Sides house is 3 blocks away, get in the car." And Mother said, No, we said we'd go to Betty's. We said we would go to Betty's the next time there was a storm. He said, "Vivian, what in God's name are you talking about?" She said, "We said we'd go to Betty's, and she's going to be hurt if we don't go." He said, "Well, how do you think she'll react to a 3-coffin funeral? Get your ass in the car." And then she said, "You're going to pay. You're going to pay a price to a greater power one day for talking like that." And he said, "I have a feeling it could happen any minute. Get in the car." And then she says, "I don't know why I married you." And he said, "Well, if you're wanting to be a widow, you're making a hell of an effort. But I'm going to try to save the child." And it's getting worse. The car is shaking. And she's going, "We got to go to Betty's." He said, "The wind's coming from that direction." She said, "Well, don't yell at me. It's not my fault which way the wind's blowing." And so finally, I just took things into my own hand. I used a trick that has worked before and since, and I just screamed, "We're all gonna die!" And folks, that cuts right through it. It is just amazing. It works in show business, religion, anywhere. It's guaranteed. So we get in the car and we get to Betty's house, and the fruit trees are waving side to side and hitting the ground kind of like one of those really limber dance troupes that you find in medium-sized college towns in Oregon, And we run to the cellar, and they pull the doors shut, and they light the lanterns, and we are literally buried in the earth. This was an old earthen cellar. It was an old place. And they lit the candles and the lanterns, and the walls glowed up. And I felt such strength from my father because I knew that he recognized this place and that he was comfortable in it and that he was doing what fathers do. He was protecting me no matter how hard Mama had tried to get us killed. And then when we came out a few minutes later, and the storm was gone, and the mist was rising, and the grass was glistening, and you could smell the earth. You could smell the earth, and it was a smell that was like a benediction. And it's something I have always felt about this part of the world. And I think there is something about all of us in this room tonight who have gone to Texas Tech, who have lived here. We have something in common. We have something that unites us. We have the same dust in our blood. We carry the same dust in our blood. It is the DNA of our kinship, and I'm so anxious for my partner and my son to come here because they need a dust transfusion.